All right, hello students. It is time for Mr. C's music theory class. It is time for you guys to get your manuscript paper out, your manuscript notebook out, and a pencil, a good working pencil, so that we can begin, okay? We're going to take it from basically where we left off. I showed you guys in two different classes how to write the different key signatures, okay, using sharps and using flats, okay? Now, we're going to take it just a little bit of a step further, okay? We're actually kind of backtracking a little bit, guys. We're backtracking a little bit to when we first did our C scale. Remember our C scale, or the key signature for a C scale, okay, would be no sharps or flats, okay? In this case, I'm going to have two sets of stabs here, okay? They have a treble clef in them each, okay? So what I want you to do is you're going to take your pencil and you're going to write your treble clef, okay? If you remember how to write a treble clef at the very beginning of each staff or on the very far left, okay? You're going to write a treble clef in one staff line, one set of staff lines, and then in the other set of staff lines on your manuscript paper, write another treble clef. I also wrote a bar line over here. I drew a bar line over here in the front of each, and then a double bar line at the end, okay? You don't want to do it at all the way at the very end of the manuscript paper. I did that over here because my chalkboard is but so wide, okay? But when you look at your manuscript paper, you're going to have a lot of long stabs, right? A long set of stabs. So you could only do it, think about the length of this and just kind of do the same thing when it comes to you're writing your scales, okay? And that's what we're doing ultimately today. We are writing scales. We're going into scales, but also at the same time using a key signature with sharps and a key signature with flats. And we're going to be doing this for a while, doing all 7 sharps and all 7 flats, okay? Not in this one class, but as the course of time goes, okay, you guys are going to see a key signature each in a set of sharps and a set of flats in one class, okay? But not all 7 all at once, but just in succession, okay? And so I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. Grab your pencils, guys, okay? Make sure, again, write up or draw up a treble clef on one set of staff lines and a treble clef on another set of staff lines. Add your bar lines in the beginning and add your double bar lines kind of at a particular length. Because the scales that we're going to write up, guys, is not that long. They're not very long. They're only 8 notes. We're going to use whole notes, okay? So, to do our scales, we're going to use whole notes, and it's only 8 of them, all right, guys? No extra measures. We're not going to use any measures. You don't have to write it. You don't have to drop any other bar lines either, okay? Now, let's start with the first sharp, right? If you recall from our previous key signature class, okay, when we're doing key signatures, we start with one sharp, right? And it's always at the very top line on that F line, right? So write a sharp. Make sure that the top line crosses that sharp, okay? The middle of that sharp, okay? And again, a sharp looks like a hashtag or a number sign, okay? That's what it looks like. But it's right there on the top line, right after the treble clef, okay? And you're going to have that sharp written right there on the F line. So it means to let us know again that in the key signature, in this key signature, okay, there is an F sharp, right? Every good boy does fine. There's an F sharp. But does that mean that's the name of the key signature? No. Remember our rule. We take the last or only sharp, in this case the only sharp that's there, and we go up a step. All right, so from F sharp, we go up a step to the space. Right after F, alphabetically, is G, right? Okay. So that is our G. We are in the key of G. Okay, which means we're going to build our scale. Okay, like we did like we did the other time with our C scale. We're going to build our scale here in G, starting with the letter G, with the G note. Okay. And we're going to actually start right here at the bottom line, right? Every good, that second line from the bottom, this is our G line right here, okay? Whereas this is a G space. We're going to build our scale starting from here using, again, whole notes. So if you recall what a whole note looks like, it just looks like a circle, right? Make sure that line, that G line, passes right through the whole note, okay? So that we know that that's our G, and we're gonna do the next set of whole notes that way. But underneath each one, I want you guys to write the letter name. So if this is our G line, we're gonna name it G, okay? So write G there. Then we're gonna go up a step to the space, okay, and draw a whole note. Write a whole note right there in the space. Remember, a space note means that the note is in between the two lines, and right after G. Now, if you recall, also our musical alphabet goes from A through G, okay? Which means we go A, B, C, D, E, F, G. We start again, right? Right after G, it has to start again, okay? Notice how we're going up the staff, which means we're going after. We're thinking of what succeeds after, right? So G, that is our A. It starts all over again to A, right? Next note is going to be on the B line. Write your whole note right there where the line crosses, and you're going to label that B, okay? After that, you're going to write your whole note in the next space up. That is your C space, F-A-C, right? Okay, and of course, just as we're going in step motion anyway, we just think alphabetical order, right? G, A, B, C, okay? Next step up is in the line. That is our D. Next step up from there in the space, that is our E, okay? Next step up there is in the line, that is our F, but is that a regular F? No. As we determined from our key signature, there's a sharp sign on that F line, making this an F sharp, okay? So we're going to identify it just like this, okay? Here's an F, there's a sharp, okay? And now, listen, guys. Technically speaking, if this was a song, if we were writing a song, and there was a note written on that F line, or even in the F space, okay? This sharp tells us that any note on the F line or on the F space is really going to be known as an F sharp. In which case, there's no need to write up a sharp next to the actual note in a song, okay? Just for our purposes only, just because we're writing up the scale here, I will draw in a sharp sign next to the F, just so that we know that this is our F sharp, okay? This is, again, just this is just for you guys visually to see it, okay? But that doesn't mean, again, and remember this, if we were writing our own song in the key of G, then there would never ever be a need, okay, to write a sharp sign next to the F note. Why? Because this key signature already tells us, that F is an F sharp, that the Fs are F sharp. They are not regular Fs. If we didn't include this, sharp sign next to the F, it would still mean for us, like if we were playing it on the piano or if we were singing it, that for the scale or for being in the key of G, we would have to sing the note as an F sharp, okay? And not a regular F natural, okay? Everybody got that? Give me a thumbs up on that, okay? But again, for our purposes, we're going to leave the sharp there. I'm going to write it in so that we can see that, yes, F sharp is included in the G scale. But do we have to write it next to the note? Not necessary. But for our purposes also, we're labeling it, okay, with the letter names. We're labeling it so that we know it's F sharp, okay? And then, of course, the last note, which is in the space, okay? That whole note there, you're going to write a whole note right there in the space above the treble clef staff, and that is our G, okay? So, if we were writing it in a sense of a solfege, actually, solfege meaning do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, this would be our low do, our G would be our low do, whereas that last G would be our high do, okay? Everybody got that? Okay, I'm just going to draw some arrows so we know which is which, okay? Just so that you guys can kind of keep track. You can do this too. You know, this is just kind of like for notation references, okay? Okay, so we know where we are at all times. And just so that I can eliminate some more confusion, okay? Because apparently I didn't write this far enough away. A through G, okay? And this is our whole note last G, the high G right there. So it goes again in the key of G. The scale is built on the lower G up to the higher G in that space, okay? And we have an F sharp, and there is an F sharp in the key of G because of the F sharp there. All right, and just so that we understand, okay, how actually yeah, that is how we build it right there. Okay, so I'm sorry, I'm confusing myself. Okay, now we've seen the one key signature with the one sharp. We have yet to see one in a flat. Okay, so if you recall our last class, when it came to identifying the key signatures in a flat, we have one flat, and it always ends up on the third line. 1, 2, third line. Okay, or you can go from the top. 1, 2, third line. Either way, it's that third line. And our flats look like that, like kind of an angled lowercase b. Okay, but that is our flat sign. And notice it's actually in the third line, which makes it what? A B flat. This is a B line. So the flat is on there, and that makes it a B flat. How do we know? Lines formula. Every good boy, okay, and by the way, the fact that it happens to be the B line boy, that doesn't necessarily have to do with the flat. It just so happens that the flat is on the B line, or like I should say, the first flat is on the B line, okay? And so whatever key signature this is, there is a B flat. But again, that doesn't mean that that's the name of the key signature. That's not the name of the key signature that it's in, okay? It just so happens that the key signature has got to be determined by the rule, which is taking the last or only flat. If you remember from last time's class, okay? Take the last or only flat and count down from where it is 4 steps. That's 4 steps. So we count down 4 steps, right? From the line. 1, space is 2, 3 is the line, 4 is the space. That 4 is the space right there. That is our F. Okay? So that means that when you have the one flat on that B line, which is making it a B flat, and we count down 4 steps and lands on that space, we are in the key of F. Okay, we're in the key of F when it comes to this. Okay, so make sure you write this in. Okay, now, how do we build our scale? From the key of F, right? In the key of F, we're going to go from space to line to space to line, okay, and so forth, up until we get to our last F, which is on the top line, okay? Drawing our whole notes up in a stepwise motion, just like we did with the key of G, okay? So, here we go. Get your pencils. Here we go. Let's do this. On the next space, okay, right after F, obviously that's a G, every good, okay? There's our G, okay? Next note, next whole note in the space right after the G line is our A. And remember again, after G comes A because the musical alphabet only goes from A through G, okay? So we're starting all over again, essentially. So here's our A, right? Our A note. Then we get to the line, that third line, okay? You write in your note, okay? And that right after A comes B. But, again, it is not just a regular B. As per our key signature, that flat sign is telling us that every B in the key of F is going to be a B flat. Every B. So it could be this one over here. It could be in the 2 spaces below the treble clef staff. That B will be a B flat. It could be a B in the higher up above the ledger lines there. Okay, any B in a song in the key of F will always be a B flat. So we're identifying it as B flat. And just for our purposes, again, we can write in a flat sign. Okay. But again, just like with the sharp, just like I said with the F sharp in the key of G, is this flat necessary? Absolutely not. It is not necessary to write it next to the note because the key signature already tells us that every B is a B flat and it's not a regular B natural. Okay? Now, we go from there, write in your next whole note. That is in the C space. So it's a regular C natural. in the line after that, that is our D. Okay. By the way, I forgot to mention this. Notice I'm using uppercases. Okay. I did mention it in passing before that every time we identify a note, okay, a letter name note, let's make sure when we use our letter names that we use uppercase and not lowercase. Okay. It's a good rule of thumb. Okay. Now after the D, okay, we have our one in that note in the top space, and that of course is our E. Okay. And then the last note, okay, on the F line, just like we did that F sharp on the F line, okay, and that is our F, natural F, okay, which is the aptly named after the key of F, okay. So that is how we build our scale, our 8 notes from low F to high F, okay. Let's write those arrows in just so we know where each note is, okay. When you build your own scale, guys, and you do your assignment and you're building your own scales, okay, you don't have to write in these arrows, okay. This is just, I'm doing this visually so that you can see where each note is and where the letter identification is, okay. So F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E, F, okay, going in the staircase motion up the scale, that's the key of F. When we think about the key of G, we have our F sharp, okay, and we go from low G to the high G. G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, and that is how we build our scales in the single sharp in the key of G and the single flat in the key of F. That's how we build our scales, guys. So when you're gonna practice this in your practice sheet, okay. When you do your assignment, you're going to practice building that same thing. Okay, understanding the usage of the sharp and the flat, okay? And as we go along, guys, we're going to also take a look at the other key signatures, okay? Next time we have another class, it's going to be 2 sharp. You're going to see the 2 sharps and in contrast the 2 flats, okay? We'll identify the key signature. By the way, when you build your scale, make sure you identify, okay, this is key of G and this is the key of F. Identify the key signature and then build your scale as such, okay? And we will do the same things with the following sharp and flat key signatures, okay? That's it. That's what I have for you today, guys, okay? Work hard on it, and as always, I wish you happy practicing. Everyone take care. See you next time.